Are you browsing through Steam, looking for the next game that you're gonna play? Endlessly searching through all of the options of big titty waifu simulators, and probably the next first-person shooter that you'll play for a week and then drop? Well, look, we're not doing that anymore, and I'm here to help you. Today, I'm gonna be reacting to some of the best up-and-coming games of 2023. Some of these games are already out, so you don't even need to wait to get them. Nice. But before we get started, make sure to leave a comment with what game you're most excited for before seeing this list. Let's get into it.
New video game consoles and your run-of-the-mill global pandemic, a whole lot of games got delayed in 2022.
American media, dude, it's all honesty.
2023 is gonna be absolutely bonkers in terms of video game releases. Here are a whole bunch of the...
It's like they say every year that this year is gonna be the craziest year for game releases. And I feel like last year, until Elden Ring came out, I feel like it was kind of dry. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
All of them. Let's get to it. The year kicks off with Fire Emblem Engage on Switch. This is the follow-up to Three Houses, and this time around you'll be able to summon or engage characters from the series past, including OG protagonist and Smash staple Marth. You can put a ring on it January 20th, so save the date. So let me get this straight. The team behind Final developed a new RPG that's not what I would call a Final Fantasy game. It's a freaking PS5 console exclusive that's also coming to PC, and oh yeah, I'm talking about Forspoken. Yeah,
I heard this game.
Okay, that is a game that's out this month.
I heard this game's dog shit. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard a few things. I've heard one, it's incredibly difficult to run on PC. Two, it's like the graphics are really good, but the gameplay is kind of dog shit. And three, I've heard that the fucking storyline for it's like really boring. So, I mean, I don't know if I would say this one's gonna be a top game of this year, because I haven't heard any good things about it so far.
It was supposed to be out in May and then in October, and it might actually come out on January 24th. So check it out. If the Callisto Protocol didn't satisfy your need for deep space survival horror in which combat tips are awkwardly written on the wall in blood, well, you can relive the original Dead Space with Dead Space Remake.
I actually do want to play this game. I've never played a Dead Space game before, and I kind of want to start doing a little bit of like horror content here and there, because I feel like, dude, I'm a big fucking chicken when it comes to horror games, dude. And so I feel like if I play horror games on stream, it would be incredibly funny, because I am just genuinely terrified of everything that has to do with horror.
The game has been recreated painstakingly in the Frostbite engine, and it shakes things up a bit with a disgusting new system.
Dead Space would be fun to play on stream.
Apparently lets you mutilate those necromorphs down to the individual bones and tendons.
I'd probably be shitting myself, but it'd be fun.
On new gen and PC on the 27th. On February 10th, it's back to school season in the Wizarding World, and Hogwarts Legacy lets you live out the ultimate fantasy of attending Harry Potter's alma mater. Just imagine the thrill of paying out the ass for textbooks that try to bite you, the least wheelchair...
What has been one of the games that you've heard the best things about? Like, I had like the most stellar reviews and like everybody was going crazy about it, but actually ended up being like not that great when you played it. Like, you weren't a big fan of it. Elden Ring? I can see that. I feel like Elden Ring there was a lot of hype about it, but I also feel like it's a very niche game. Code Vein. Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you, I fucking loved Code Vein. I played the entire game. I beat it from beginning to end. Loved it. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is also, I actually tried that game when it first came out. I don't feel like that one was necessarily on the fault of people. I feel like that was on the fault of the developers, because I remember the whole debacle with No Man's Sky when it first came out, and everybody was, and like they showed like all of these crazy like things you can do, all this gameplay, and the game came out and it literally had none of it.
Accessible stairs in the history of schools, and your entire academic career being determined by a guidance counselor who is a talking hat.
I mean, Hogwarts Legacy though, so far lit as fuck.
If you wish Monster Hunter was a little more like Fortnite, keep an eye out for Wild Hearts, yet another fantastical world for you to explore. This one is inspired by feudal Japan. Imagine that. It's developed by Omega Force, the studio behind the Dynasty Warriors series.
This looks like a different version of Monster Hunter.
And its myriad Muso spin-offs, and if the fact that EA is publishing worries you, bear in mind that Activision published Sekiro. Will you heart Wild Hearts? See for yourself when it's out in the wild on February 17th.
That game looks like it could be fun.
If you're not totally sick of hearts after eating a box of Valentine's candy while playing Wild Hearts, on the 21st, Atomic Heart can get your blood pumping. This is the single-player first-person shooter with a Soviet aesthetic that looks a bit like Fallout's paleofuturism, but from the other side of the Iron Curtain. However, its combat and weirdness levels seem more in line with BioShock. If you're looking for something to pass the time until Ken Levine's Judas, this might be worth checking out. Switch. On February 22nd, Sony is for all intents and purposes launching a brand new console with the PlayStation VR 2, which will have a pile of launch titles to go with it. And at the summit of this molehill of day one releases, you'll find the Horizon spin-off Call of the Mountain, which promises to be a full-length VR game. Maybe not as long as the flagship Horizon games, but definitely more meaty than your average virtual reality experience. That's exclusive to 2 unique campaigns in Northern Africa and Italy. This one also adds
some VR chat could be pretty fun for stream. I'm not gonna lie.
Pause, which sounds great for when the real-time combat gets a little too real. That comes to PC on February 23rd.
Company of Heroes, never been a fan.
Forest is the direct descendant of the hit Woodland Survival
This game I'm actually excited to play.
Survival. While a lot of us would prefer to be stuck on a proverbial desert island with a Steam Deck or an
that game's coming out
this one will see you foraging for supplies and braving the elements while also fending off a horrible cave system full of terrifying mutant cannibals. Sounds lovely. That's on PC. If that's too scary and you'd rather repeatedly kill some adorable
Sons of the Forest would be another one I would play. I actually only played the first one pretty recently. My girlfriend actually got me into it because I'd never played it before. And it's pretty fun for a multiplayer game. That could be a fun game to play on stream. I wonder if they'll do any like multiplayer integrations for
astronauts
it
through a reckless trial and error.
The last one I know was pretty rough.
Space Program 2 lets you do that and lots more. That hits early access on PC on February 24th, but the developers promise custom bases, multiplayer, mod support, and of course console versions down the road. If you yearn for the simpler days of classic turn-based RPGs with
they're coming out with the new Octopath Traveler. I never played the first one, but I think they have the first one on sale.
Octopath Traveler was pretty cool.
I think they have the first Octopath Traveler on sale in Steam right now. And I've kind of been tempted to get it because I know that game is kind of like right up my alley. It's like turn-based RPG, pixel art, but like with like cool effects. Honestly, kind of up my wheelhouse. What did you say was the issue with the forest? Nothing really. It was it just felt like it felt a little rough in some places. Like I wouldn't say rough. It felt unpolished in some places. Like I wouldn't say any part of it was necessarily bad that I was like, I don't like this about this game. But like some of the stuff, like the building part of it felt like a little crude. Like it was like not fully fleshed out. I felt like the crafting system wasn't super like impressive. I felt like the most impressive part, which I feel like is the part that it should be, was the gameplay. I felt like the exploration portion, the survival portion, everything like that. I felt like those were the best parts about it. And yeah, I mean, I feel like the game was good. It just, I would like a game, and I'm hoping the Sons of the Forest does it. It has a little bit more polish on it, and it just feels like, I would want it to feel, I don't know if I say AAA title, but I'd want it to feel like it has the refinement of a AAA title, if that makes sense.
Well, you're in luck because Octopath Traveler hits PC, Switch, and both PlayStations also on February 24th. On March 1st, the day before hits PC, and before your eyes glaze over at the idea of yet another post-apocalyptic zombie survival game with base building and survival elements, get a load of these graphics. Okay. A lot of games on this list were delayed due to the pandemic, but developer Fnatic pushed this one so they could switch engines from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5, and it looks like that was a smart move.
Green Hell, if you don't know it, look it up after this. All right, we'll watch a trailer of it after, because I'm actually kind of curious.
Game on Steam after Hogwarts Legacy. That's on PC with plans for new-gen console versions later on. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is the latest project from Team Ninja, and it looks to continue the long tradition of kicking your ass repeatedly, which began with Ninja Gaiden and the Neo games, but this one's set in China's Three Kingdoms period, but you know, it's got a grisly dark fantasy twist.
Oh god,
that is on all the stuff that isn't made by Nintendo. Allegedly, Skull and Bones is fine.
So that one, the Wolong one looked pretty sick. That looks like one I would enjoy.
But I will believe it when I see it. This is Ubisoft's multiplayer pirate game, which
dude, this is right up Tactical's alley right here. A pirate ship game?
Supposedly began as an Assassin's Creed Black Flag spinoff, and at one point was apparently like For Honor with boats, but since then it's taken the shape of something much more like Sea of Thieves, and it's been delayed about, well, my entire career. Anyway, that drops anchor
so it's been
on
in development purgatory.
To make up for the extremely long wait for Bayonetta 3, Platinum Games is rewarding fans of the bespectacled Umber Witch with a brand new installment less than a year later. Bear in mind, it's a pretty big shift, ditching the realistic third-person action for a top-down adventure with a cuter story.
Only if you're on my crew, you already know, baby boy.
It definitely looks more fun than waiting 5 years for a sequel. That is on
Bayonetta. All right, it's okay. I actually have the, what was it, like the I bought it on Switch, the one that came out like Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3 that had on itself like $30. Still haven't played them, honestly.
On Switch, March 17th.
Devil May Cry, much better in my opinion.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the follow-up to Fallen Order, which sees the return of an older and hairier Cal Kestis who will undoubtedly have some new tricks up his sleeve. Technical hiccups aside, Respawn knocked it out of the park with the first game, so hopefully this continues this streak that is on new-gen consoles and PC. What are you buying? Well, on March 24th,
this we're going to be playing on stream 1000%. Resident Evil 4, the remake, dude, this game's going to be crazy. The Star Wars one actually looks interesting. I kind of want to watch a full trailer of it after this.
Resident Evil 4 remake, probably.
Because it looked pretty good, honestly. Like the graphics on it looked killer. And I missed out on the whole train of playing, what was it? It was Force Unleashed. I missed that whole train, unfortunately, when that first came out. And I feel like if this is supposed to be like a better version of that, it might be worth it.
Capcom probably
but dude, Resident Evil 4 remake, oh dude, I'm so excited for it.
Probably RE4's original release, and a modern remake of one of the best, albeit most divisive games in the entire series, with a few modern adjustments.
Dude, this is the game that got me into Resident Evil.
That's on both PlayStation, Xbox Series X, and PC. Crime Boss Rockhay City is a brand new first-person shooter that came totally out of left field, and we don't know much about it other than it's got a star-studded cast, which is mostly Michaels and Danny's. Specifically,
Michael Rooker
Madsen,
for sure.
Glover, and Trejo. It also has Kim Basinger, Vanilla Ice, and Chuck Norris. What's the gameplay like? Great question.
What the fuck?
That's on PC March 28th and consoles someday.
What the fuck? Is this a game with like a star-studded cast? Dude.
Before there was BioShock, there was System Shock, and this is yet another classic that's getting a full modern remake. And if you're having deja vu, that might be because this got kickstarted way back in 2016, and sometime in March, you'll finally get to play it. That's on everything that doesn't say Nintendo on.
I've never heard this game before.
Dead Island 2 has had a long and rocky development, and on April 28th, it is finally rising from its grave. LA is infested with zombies, and you gotta go kill them. What do you kill them with? All kinds of stuff, including
Dead Island could be fun too. I've kind of fucked with zombie games. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
That's coming out April 20th.
Like even though Dead Rising 3, arguably not the best one, I fucked with it heavy. Like Dead Rising 1, also gangster. Also, Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, classics, absolute classic games. Back 4 Blood, not as great. Didn't enjoy it as much. But, dude, Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 were just, dude, just masterpieces.
28th.
Spent so much time playing those as a kid.
But hey, Switch owners are going to be just fine because on May 12th,
Tears of the Kingdom! Here we go!
Finally drops. Breath of the Wild was such a genre-redefining watershed game that the wait for a follow-up has felt like a lifetime, and that might be because this has been one of, if not the longest, high expectations. It's been a very long wait for a new game from Rocksteady, the studio that gave us the Batman Arkham series, and while it's set in the same universe, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League looks to be a pretty huge departure. This time, players can get down with their bad selves as Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, King Shark, and/or Deadshot. That's on new gen and
Do you
PC.
play as the bad guys in this one?
Street Fighter 6 looks to be maybe the biggest shift for the series since its jump from 2 to 2.5D back in Street Fighter 4, but this is much more than just a visual leap. It's adding a character creator and a whole hub city for you to explore and hang out in and presumably do some street fighting in. But don't worry, as far as fighting goes, it's not reinventing the wheel. Buzz for this among fighting game diehards seems very positive. That's on PS4, PS5, Series X and S, and PC. Diablo 4 has been in the works for a very long time, but it sounds like it's going to be worth the wait.
I'm excited for this one.
It's far more in line with Diablo 2 than 3. It is a clear
I'm excited for Diablo 4.
Dark fantasy, and its gorgeous world is wide open for you to explore.
I don't know if that's necessarily a game I would play on stream though, because I mean, I don't know if you guys have played Diablo before. This shit is such a grindy game, and it is like the most grindy shit in the world.
Demons and hoarding loot. That's how
everybody has their taste in games, you know?
Switch. Like many other games on this list, Final Fantasy XVI is a massive departure from its immediate predecessor. This time, it's scrapping the futuristic elements and returning to good old-fashioned medieval fantasy, and if you're tired of open worlds, rest assured this looks to have a much more focused area-based approach to level design,
on my left
combat
and it's
is still going to be in real time. That one's exclusively on PS5 for the immediate future. Forza Motorsport gives
They're only bringing Final Fantasy 16 to PS5? Dude, what the fuck? That's kind of jank.
Microsoft's
Final Fantasy 15 will forever be one of, in my opinion, a game that has one of the best storylines I've ever played in video games.
Title a soft reboot for its first dedicated foray into exclusively new-gen territory. This will undoubtedly be a real showcase of what the Series S and X are capable of graphically, and those sexy anime ladies you plastered all over your tricked-out Subaru will look sexier than ever, and so will the Subaru. That's on Series X and S and PC sometime in the spring. A whole bunch of games have been given the extremely broad release window of first half of the year, so here are some games you're going to be playing probably sooner or later. Hollow Knight received universal acclaim, including IGN staff voting it the best Metroidvania of all time, despite an utter lack of Metroids.
I still haven't finished that game. I still haven't finished the first Hollow Knight yet, unfortunately.
Control of Hornet, the enemy turned ally for the first game, who has a totally unique moveset. Fans of Homeworld 2 have been waiting 2 decades for a sequel, and they won't have to wait that much longer. Homeworld 3 takes place.
I never played this game, but I've heard so many people talk about Homeworld.
Addition of terrain that'll allow for cover. It's still in space, mind you, but there's just a lot of shit floating around up there now. If you love the games that Arcane has put out, like Dishonored, Prey, and Deathloop, and you hate vampires, boy do I have the game for you that you probably already knew about. Redfall will have you staking your claim in a New England town filled with bloodsuckers. And
actually, Redfall's out on Game Pass right now, actually. I'm pretty sure you can download it for free on Game Pass.
This time around, it's co-op, so up to 3 friends can join in on the fun.
And it's co-op?
2 Heart of Chernobyl is the long-awaited sequel to the 2007 post-apocalyptic survival horror game based on the Tarkovsky film of the same name, based on the classic novel Roadside Picnic, and its development has certainly not been a picnic, roadside, or otherwise. In addition to all the other hurdles of developing a AAA video game through the pandemic, Ukraine-based GSC World also had to put things on hold while their country was being bombed and invaded by Russian forces. This is supposed to hit the new Xboxes and PC sometime in the first half of the year, but I think of all the games on this list, I don't think anybody's gonna be mad if they need more time.
That can't be good.
Starfield is shaping up to be Skyrim in space. And before you tell me that's a stupid, reductive way of describing it, I'm quoting
I don't know about
Howard,
that. Skyrim in space?
Anyway, in space, no one can hear you dragon shout, but you can probably go collect some cheese wheels on the moon or on one of the hundreds of other planets in this game. That's on all the new Xboxes and PC. If you like deep space stuff, but Starfield sounds dauntingly expansive, well, there's also The Expanse, a Telltale series, which is a narrative adventure set in the universe of the hit TV show, and that's on PC and consoles. If you think narrative adventures are a novel idea, well, it's time to unravel a new story with Alan Wake 2, which sees the return of Remedy's author-protagonist, who this time around promises to be a proper survival horror. If you're one of the many people who spent thousands of hours hunting and crafting and riding dinosaurs in Ark, you may have thought to yourself at some point, this game is great, but it needs Vin Diesel. Well, you're not the only one
fuck? Wait. You're telling me, look at me. You're telling me that they came out with Ark 1 and they were like, people love it. Dinosaurs, love it. Survival, love it. Building, love it. What does this game need? Vin fucking Diesel. Family first looking ass Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel felt the same way, and after playing a shitload of the first game, he's not only starring in the sequel, he's also involved with its development as Studio Wildcard's president of creative convergence, which means he's also executive producing an Ark animated series. Sure, why not? Or is back with its 6th long overdue installment, Fires of Rubicon. What took so long? Well, FromSoft was busy establishing a little genre called Soulsborne with a trilogy of Dark Souls games, Bloodborne, Sekiro.
Wait. Armored Core is by FromSoft? What?
Of course, Elden Ring. There's absolutely no reason to expect Armored Core to be anything like those games, and according to the developers, it isn't really. But considering those games are what amassed FromSoft its devoted following, I imagine those fans are being taken into consideration at least somewhat. That's coming to everything.
Ark 1 still do creature pulls for new creatures?
One new entry this year.
I have Ark, I just haven't played it.
Might be relieved to hear that
I bought it on Steam because it was on sale one time, and I was like, I'll play this one day, so I haven't done it.
Assassin's Creed Mirage is going to scale things back and return to the original game's design pillars of stealth, parkour, and assassinations. The setting? 9th century Baghdad.
Hot take. Assassin's Creed fell too far from God. The first Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 were pretty good games. The first one I would arguably say was the best one. And then I feel like they just strayed so far from the path with doing all this other crazy shit that the game just they lost what the game was supposed to be about, which kind of is unfortunate.
The first Hades was a smash hit in 2020. Its fast-paced roguelike action and slick visuals earned it a spot on countless best-of lists.
Hades, I also need to play
IGN's
still.
Game of the Year award. While we're always happy to see Supergiant Games go back to the drawing board to try something completely new and experimental, we're also thrilled that there's more Hades on the way, which will undoubtedly have plenty of surprises in store. Pinocchio fans, if such a thing actually exists,
I actually do want to play this game.
Couple of years.
I actually do want to play this game. The Pinocchio game where it's like a Soulsborne Pinocchio game, dude, it looks sick. Dan, don't hate on my newer Assassin's Creed games. I don't hate them. I just feel like they lost what Assassin's Creed is supposed to be about by adding way too much other shit. You love Valhalla. Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla are all three are beautiful. I haven't played any of the new ones, so I can't really talk. It's like a guttural reaction, you know?
This action RPG retells the original 19th century fairy tale in the form of a fast-paced action RPG a la Bloodborne, and yes, you'll be able to tell lies. Marvel's Spider-Man was one of the best-selling games on PS4, so unsurprisingly, it's getting a follow-up, but the sequel will be exclusive to PS5. After seeing how much Insomniac
Games PlayStation really be taking advantage of this fucking, or I should say Sony is taking advantage of having the rights for Spider-Man.
Has in store for us in the sequel. The Cops and Robbers co-op shooter Payday 2 gets a long-awaited sequel a full decade after the last game released. This time around, players can expect larger scale heist as developers have described
Holy shit, dude, it's been so long since we had the last Payday game.
Representation of New York City. Another series getting a sequel after a decade of nothing, unless you count the mobile game, is Pikmin. We basically haven't seen anything from this game outside of a 30-second trailer.
Never played Pikmin before.
That it will involve some.
Valhalla was brutal but amazing.
They haven't shown us anything.
Valhalla looked like it could be fun. Because Valhalla is the one where you're playing as like a Viking, right?
The ranks of Friday the 13th, Predator, Evil Dead, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Based squarely in the era of the 1974 slasher classic, the game will have one team playing as meddling teens who have to, not get murdered, and the other team will be playing as not just Leatherface, but his entire messed up family.
See, okay, so this game looks cool, but my worry about this game is that it's going to fall into the same issue that happened with the Friday the 13th game, which is going to be that it ends up not being super, it's going to try and do what Dead by Daylight does, but it's not going to be the same experience, and people are going to meme it up, and it's going to make it not scary or not fun. I feel like I don't know. I'm hopeful that it's good. I'm kind of expecting it to be meme material again. It's just people knocking out Jason and then dancing on his body.
Considering how much Gears of War copied Warhammer 40k's homework, it's only fair that they get to follow suit, and the 2011 third-person shooter Space Marine clearly understood the assignment. Now, we're finally getting a sequel continuing the adventures of Ultramarines Captain Titus.
This does look like Gears of War.
A sea of screeching Tyranids, and this one sounds pretty cool. And finally, for this list.
And I loved Gears of War, dude. Gears of War, oh my god, I spent so much time playing Gears of War 1 as a kid, dude.
This new game
so much time.
6 months after the last one. If you need a refresher, that's totally understandable.
Use a side, spin it over your head, cutting off your enemy's head, dude. That's the only way to do it.
And there you have it. That's a whole bunch of games that are coming out in 2023, and it's not even all of them, because a whole bunch of them we don't even know about quite yet.
Yo, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you made it this far, make sure to leave a comment and tell me if your belly button is in or out.